What was it like when you had that conversation with them that you wanted to go into esports?
I made a PowerPoint presentation. I was like, listen, this happens and this happens. And I kind of want to do this.
I really want to know what was in the PowerPoint presentation. Do you still have a copy of it?
How long was this PowerPoint?
No,
Did it have images in it as well?
Yeah,
Did it have clip art?
Images.
Hello and welcome to episode number 4 of EAFC Pro Full Chemistry, the show where the game is just the beginning as we bring together all the elements that bind us together in this incredible community. And the nucleus of the community, arguably, is FG. Hello, how are you?
Hello, that's a massive call, don't say that. But yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Looking forward to today. We've got a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, I'm merely an atom that's going to be present for the chat, and it is going to be quite the epic episode. But before we get into that, happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday indeed to EA.
15th year of Ultimate Team.
Released on Friday the 15th, a marketing masterclass.
Clever, all about the 5 stars.
Absolutely incredible. Ultimate Birthday is out, one of the most anticipated events in the FC calendar. And yeah, there's so many good items out. So obviously, we've got the E-Prem coming up, so I think we're going to see a lot of Son. He's expensive, but he's very good. Saka, and there's also another Kevin De Bruyne. But
you can't get enough of KDB.
Well, this KDB is different because it's different to his Team of the Year item, but there's extra stuff. There's 5-star skill, and it's just an extra element to it. So I love it.
What's your favourite item, though, from this?
Actually, Son. Son's really, really good. But I mean, one that's actually shocked me a lot is Sorloth, who's been so good in previous FC promos. So he had a Team of the Week item that was incredible. But I really like the fact that he's low priced. He's a budget that everyone can get. And I'm really enjoying using him. He's scoring every time he shoots, and I love it.
I like it. You're like coin supermarket, man. You're just like, yeah, okay, so your KDB is going to be quite expensive, but feast your eyes on this lad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the good thing is about the market is there's some items there that are available and attainable for everyone.
Well, when I get back home, I might treat myself, but I can't go anywhere right now because we've got so much to talk about. This is going to be a packed show because our friends have been over in Brazil at the CONMEBOL eLibertadores, and therefore we get to speak to Kacee again because she was there commentating, interviewing some of the players on the sidelines, witnessing the whole thing, and we're going to have a very special other guest interview as well.
Yeah, we are indeed. And of course, there was a very, very special guest at the CONMEBOL eLibertadores, which you guys will get to know about soon in this episode.
I mean, you don't need to hide that one because it sounds like we have him on the podcast. We don't have Kacee on the podcast. I wish we had Kacee on the podcast.
Was at the CONMEBOL eLibertadores. I mean, wow, we are massive, and that is massive.
Yeah, and so was runner-up Guilherme, a.k.a. GuiBarros, and he actually happened to be born in Houston, Texas, which means that we don't need to learn to speak Brazilian Portuguese. We can actually have an interview with him. So that is going to be coming up at the end of the show. So to get started and to get us updated on everything that happened at the CONMEBOL eLibertadores, we have none other than our mate, friend of the show, Kacee. And we find you actually at home for once, which is a rare occurrence.
Yes, finally back home in Chicago. I've been doing a lot of traveling. Austin, Texas. I just got back late last night from Sao Paulo and eLibertadores. It was, I mean, if I could think of it in one word, passionate.
I'm going to bring things back to Brazil, namely one of the most iconic Brazilians of all time, Kacee. I was watching him on the broadcast and I was so jealous because I was going, one, he's amazing. He's exactly like you would imagine and want him to be. And also all of you guys get to hang out with him now. You got your photo. What was he like?
He was so cool. I got to meet him afterwards. We shook hands. We got to take videos, pictures. Very, very cool because I packed him this year in FC 24. So to pack him in game, to meet him IRL, fantastic.
Speaking of Kacee, right, I've got a little clip that I got sent by Brandon Smith. Cantona.
Oh, it's Cantona.
Not bad.
Look at his reaction as well. Kacee knows he's a baller. Oh, that's class. Kacee, how's your icon look been? Have you got any Brazilians whilst you're out in Brazil? Because I have this theory that whichever place you go to in the world, you pack more players from that place.
Like, I've packed so many Brazilian icons recently, but most of them have been duplicates. I just keep getting them over and over. It's just all the Brazilian icons.
Did you just say you've had duplicate Brazilian icons?
Yeah.
Which duplicate has been like the crazy... Don't say Ronaldinho.
Ronaldinho.
Oh my God. Right, listen, I've been trying to pack Ronaldinho on FC 24 for literally since the game came out, and you've got two.
Let's potentially bring things back to Kacee. Who's your favourite right back of all time?
Weird one? I love Quadrado. I don't know why. I love the way he plays. He brings a different flair to it. I know that's really random. Either him or Kyle Walker.
Have you seen that new Quadrado item in FC24, the SBC?
Yes.
A right back
Fantastic.
with 5-star skills. Let me cook. I can't do skills, but honestly, it's class. Have you used him yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't been on the game because I went from MLS directly to Sao Paulo, and so I haven't actually been at my console. And so today I'm about to play so much FC24. I'm
She's so excited.
Your
as well.
hands
She's
must
doing
be
that
like
SBC
practically quivering.
straight away.
They're like shaking.
It sounds then like we need to get a move on and actually talk about what happened in Sao Paulo then. Let's talk first of all about the draft restrictions, because it didn't really feel like there were that many, Kacee. It was like, yeah, you can pretty much use any player right now, but in terms of your icons, they've got to be from South America.
But it's interesting because you'd be like, all right, there's actually a lot of South American options, but we only really saw two. And that was R9 and Ronaldinho. We didn't see really anyone else besides that.
I would have liked to have seen Cafu, because I use Cafu a lot.
It was interesting. Who were we seeing as the right backs? Because it seems like we were seeing a lot of variation, mostly in that defensive line, but not so much in the attack, Kacee.
So for right back, we saw a really interesting choice, which was Jude Bellingham. A lot of players put him at right back because they thought that he could somehow combat Haaland. A lot of Ona Battels as well, because she has that really good crossing trait. But yeah, Jude at right back, interesting choice.
Do you think that Jude Bellingham was effective in the end at countering Haaland?
There's almost nothing you could do against Haaland at this point of the game. He's an unstoppable force, especially anytime the ball is in the air. And so I saw a couple times where Jude gave him a run for his money, but for the most part, Haaland is just dominating.
What would your approach be then, Kacee, if you were drafting for this competition?
I think that you just have to anticipate that those Haaland goals are going to go in. So just put your best foot forward in terms of your defense. I would probably go Virgil van Dijk and Lucio at center back. I think they did pretty well. But in terms of my attack, everyone pretty much went with Mbappe, R9, Haaland. And I'd probably just do the same. And I will say, the two best midfielders that we saw throughout the entirety of it, Kevin De Bruyne, Alex Putellas, fantastic.
Let's talk about the fans in Brazil, shall we? Brazilian esports might just be up there and more. It looked incredible from us watching it here. What was it like to be there?
The vibes were immaculate. The passion, there was people screaming at all times. We had like the little balloons that people were banging in the entire time. But yeah, they were so passionate about so many of the players. And so just so you guys know, there were 3 Argentines, 1 Colombian. The rest were Brazilian players. And so many good options of players to root for from their home country. And man, it was insane. Really insane.
Okay, so let's talk about day one then. So the group stages.
Yep.
16 players cut down to 8. 131 goals on day one. Talk to me about that day one experience.
Coming into this, everyone is South American. So I was like, all right, what is this style of play going to be like? I knew after the first match exactly what it was going to be. Attacking. So many goals. I've never seen this many goals. Constantly pushing forward. It doesn't matter if you're up by 4 goals. They're still pushing forward, even if it creates more risks for them on the counter. But it just makes some of the most entertaining gameplay that I've ever seen in all of FC esports.
We should talk then about 2 notable exceptions from the playoffs, because Facu Cohen went down 0-2 in his group stage, and we also lost Young as well. Actually, he was devastatingly close to making it to the playoffs. Why do you think they struggled this time round, Kacee? Do you think they maybe adapted to the world meta and they didn't think Brazilian enough?
Young started off so strong and had such a dominant performance going into round 1. And I think he came out of that maybe a little bit complacent, because I do feel like when you dominate a performance that much, you set your guard down a little bit. So next game, he goes up 3-0, continuing that, right? But then I believe it was Dudu in that game. He came back and then ended up winning it. So that's setting Young all the way back to the beginning. He ends up losing it again. And so he started off so strong just to go downhill from that. And so I think maybe a little bit of complacency is what happened with Young. With Facu Cohen, he couldn't really get into this event. Like there was at no point where I was feeling, yeah, this is the confident Facu Cohen that we saw in the Swiss stage of FC Pro Open where he went undefeated. I think that maybe the difference in play style between FC Pro in Europe and the play style in South America was maybe a factor into that one. But yeah, I was shocked to see both of them not go through into Championship Sunday.
And a man who didn't concede in day one, Resende ended up getting knocked out in the first round in day 2, which was a little bit of a shock based on how he did in day 1, wasn't it?
He probably wished that he could play all of those championship Sunday games on Saturday. Each day is going to be a different mindset going into it, and it's hard to continue that confidence and momentum going into the next day. But yeah, Dudu, I'm so impressed with how he played this weekend. He did not make it to the final, but however, he took down some amazing competitors along the way. And the thing that I love about him is that he's never afraid going up against some of these big names like Resende, who's won eLibertadores before. And so he came into that match. He was like, yeah, I don't care what you've done before, but I'm going to be in this match. And I know that you haven't conceded a goal previously yesterday, but I'm going to win it. And that's exactly what he did.
This was the weird thing, though, because the first 20 minutes, or in-game minutes, I should say, of that game, Resende versus Dudu, the quarterfinal, Resende did seem like he was fully in control. It was like group stage Resende. But then as soon as Dudu scores, that first goal conceded across the entire competition, or at least the entire weekend's competition by Resende, it was like it broke him, and he couldn't really get possession back after that. And possession seems to be his superpower.
Like we said, he hadn't conceded a goal. So that was the first time we're seeing that throughout the entirety of this weekend. And so I don't know if that really just bit away at his confidence, which is crazy because we saw so many goals this weekend and one goal probably shouldn't affect it that much. But yeah, it set forward a entire series of more goals for Dudu, and it kind of went downhill for Resende from there.
We spoke about, obviously, the fullbacks and people trying to stop Erling Haaland before. Let's talk a bit more in detail about that Erling Haaland meta then. I mean, the impact is clear for everyone to see. You can see it by the smile on your face now as well. Like, Erling Haaland's inevitable on this game. But how much are the pro players adapting to that and using that as a strength?
If you're not adapting in this game, you are not winning. And so Haaland is definitely one of the most important players in the entire game, whether he is creating chances by knocking the ball down to a player like Kevin De Bruyne or Alex Mateos, who's running up from the midfield, or even knocking it down to one of your strikers like Mbappe, or just heading it in from across. Like, he is always there in those aerial situations. And if you are not applying that, I mean, what are you doing? Pretty much.
I mean, I think we've got an example of a clip as well, the first semi-final between Nathan and Dudu, just to show his aerial dominance.
So this is Nathan SR versus Dudu. He's sending in that ball. I love the reaction, by the way. No, but he's sending in the through ball in the air to Haaland. He quickly knocks it down, and it creates the perfect scoring opportunity. And we've seen this so many times. A lot of players, they're not even able to touch the ball in the air. But Haaland, you pretty much have a 99.9% chance of getting some type of touch on that ball. And if you have players that are very, very good on the pitch, perfect positioning like Alex Mateos or Kevin De Bruyne, they're going to be in that perfect position to score.
And then what he lacks in dexterity, well, you got that in Mbappe.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the perfect draft, really.
I mean, oh my gosh, that Erling Haaland, I'd love to use him. He's so good. We've wanted this on FC for a long time, a big, tall striker dominating it on the game like he is on the real pitch, and put it up to the big man up top. I love it. It's absolutely class. Should we take a look at that semi-final then a little bit more? It's obviously the South American players are known for their attacking, but I mean, the defending in the game was on point too. 0 goals in the first semi-final for 40 minutes. That says a lot as well. We've been talking a lot about the attacking side, but defensively, they were solid.
That first semi-final, Dudu versus Nathan SR, was super end-to-end. Also, we need to note that Nathan SR, before this, was completely undefeated through the beginning online qualifiers, through Saturday, through that day. And so he's coming in very, very strong. Dudu's taking out fantastic competition. At some point, it just clicked and it shifted all of the momentum for Nathan SR.
You actually wanted to highlight a particularly spectacular piece of gameplay as well, Kacee, from this match.
Yes, I did.
Let's take a look at this clip. This is the Dudu finesse shot. This was, I think, a moment when I actually let out a tiny shriek in my room.
I mean, Kevin De Bruyne as well on the game. We spoke about him before, but look at that. Finesse straight in the top bins and the celebration to match. Case, I mean, let's break this down. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant, isn't it?
The thing that I love about this goal is that a lot of these players are so versatile in their attack. And so they're creating so many different types of attacking situations. In this situation, we didn't see many players shooting from that far outside of the box. And so I don't even think that Nathan SR was anticipating Kevin De Bruyne to be making that shot right there. And so he didn't apply enough pressure. He's doing the exact thing he needs to do, which is the finesse shot, which is already so overpowered with Kevin De Bruyne. Easily goes in and makes for one of the best goals of the tournament. And I know that Dudu did not win that game, but I had to include it because watching that live on broadcast, my jaw was to the ground. It was so fun to watch.
To take that shot, it's so easy to be closed down there within literally seconds to block the finesse shot. And the way he's just taking it so quickly without even a second thought is just unbelievable.
Should we talk about the second semi-final? Because that's when we saw GuiBarros take on Giuliano. And GuiBarros, I mean, he had an incredible tournament. He picked up so much momentum from this quarterfinals win. But to be honest, I think, didn't he beat Paolo Neto to get
Yeah,
to
he did.
the top 16 in the
qualifiers.
first place?
Yep.
So, like, really, momentum was surely on his side from that moment onwards.
Watching GuiBarros come in, he was kind of an unheard of competitor coming into this. And so I was like, all right, who is this guy? Let me pay attention to him because we haven't seen him. And then watching him throughout Saturday, he did fantastic. He went undefeated. Coming into this game against Giuliano, Giuliano is one of the Argentine players, so the crowd was very skewed towards rooting for the Brazilian. And so, unfortunate for Giuliano, they were all rooting against him. He did give him a good game. But the one thing I will say about GuiBarros is that every time Giuliano scored, GuiBarros had an answer for it. He was able to keep the game on his side the entire time, and that's what propelled him into the final.
Well, his playstyle's very, very different as well, right?
Yeah.
There's player lock, a lot of player lock involved. Obviously, for player lock, Kacee, you've got to be quick thinking, you've got to be fast as well, and you've got to see things ahead. I can't play a lock to save my life. It's the hardest thing on FC24. And this man, I don't think, you can't either, right? And
No.
this man made it look easy. The player lock is so effective as well. And it's a massive, he used it to his strengths.
He did. It's almost like he's playing chess. And in chess, you have to think 3 steps ahead. And that's exactly what he's doing. He can see every single pass. He's making sure that he is locking onto the player that he wants to get it to, putting them in the perfect position, because sometimes AI just doesn't do that for you. And so using the player lock to have full control over the pass, where it goes, and then inevitably the shot as well. He does it very, very well.
Should we take a look at an example of his player locking prowess? This was a run with R9.
You're going to reply. R9 has to score!
So good. Like, it looks so simple the way he's just done that, but he's literally found the space in between the two centre halves and he's made that goal completely from player lock.
I was so silent. I was just like, how does he do this?
It's just incredible. Like, the way you think, like, it's that's not normal. Like, player lock's such a good feature in FC, but I mean, it's a difficult feature. And to get it right, you have to get every single second of your move correct. And like Kacee said, you have to think so far ahead. I don't know about people watching this podcast or listening in, but I'm incapable. I can't do it.
And I'm also quite impressed right now because this is the first time that I've heard FG admit that he can't do
I
something
can't
in
play a lot.
FC24.
I've tried and I've failed. And you know what? We'll see it a lot throughout the competitive scene, but he used it so much to his advantage in his first ever LAN.
Yeah.
And he's qualified for the World Championships. He's just, oh, wow, what a performance.
And he's booked his spot in the finals versus his teammate Nathan SR. When I was watching both these players before they came together, it seemed like they actually had a similar approach to that attack. Like, there's a patience there. Obviously, there's your fancy shots, but also the way that they cycle the ball around the box to make the space. And if it goes wrong, they still maintain possession and they just repeat that cycle in the final third again. Did you feel like there were similarities, perhaps stemming from training together for minors, Kacee?
Definitely. I think that behind the scenes, they have done so many friendlies. And so it's almost unfortunate that they met each other in the final. But yeah, I really enjoyed both of their play styles. It's funny, though, because as a viewer, sometimes you're watching it and they're doing so many extra passes that you almost think that they're overplaying it. And you're like, no, shoot there. Like, you had an opportunity, you were through on goal. But it's like they know something that we don't, because they're doing the extra pass, doing the extra player lock, and sometimes even stopping on a dime to create that extra space to let their defender overstep or do that. And they obviously know what they're doing because they're making it to a final, and they're not overplaying it. They're finding the exact opportunity, and the patience is everything.
Teammates, of course. No surprise that it was 0-0 for 39 minutes in the game. But you've picked out another clip for us to watch, Kacee. Let's take a look. It was the moment the deadlock was broken, the first goal in the final.
Yes, here it is with Teo. He driven passes it into Alexi Putellas, back to Jude Bellingham. First time pass. Here we have the L1 stop, reverse elastico. And I want to pay attention to the last part there. He does the shot cancel because he thinks it's going to be blocked, but then he shoots it far post, which is the perfect opportunity. A lot of players might shoot it near post and just send it, but he does the shot cancel, sends it far post because that was the perfect opportunity for that situation, and it goes straight in the back of the net.
You love a high-scoring final. I mean, GuiBarros, it's a big defeat in the final, but he got what he came for, and that's the qualification. He was the underdog throughout, even until the semi-final, and I think people didn't really think he could do something. But yeah, great final in the end.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the final. The first half, it was actually very much of a stalemate. It felt like they were almost feeling each other out and not able to really understand how to get into that final third. I was talking to Guy after the game and I was like, what did you do after like the third goal? He was like, I just tried my best and then there wasn't much I could do. It was just obvious that Nathan Asara was here to be the champion and I'm so proud to be his teammate. And so it was very, very cool. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but they didn't have their coaches behind them because they didn't want to give them any type of bias. And so it was just them up there on that main stage competing 1v1, no coaches. And so I found that pretty interesting because we don't often see two players from the same org competing in a final.
And the audience was so quiet and the boys really gave each other a lot of respect. Like, you know, most of the time we would expect if someone's going up 6-0, they would be almost in the face of their opponents celebrating. And Nathan wasn't like that.
They play a lot as well, their teammates, right? So how difficult do you think it is to play against your teammates? Like they play every day.
Yeah, I think they know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and they need to figure out a way to go outside of their normal play style to surprise their teammate because they know what to expect. Also, like in the back of your mind, you're not going to be seeing them as a villain. And so you don't have that little extra edge of aggression to try to beat them because you like your teammate, like you want them to do well. And so mentality, I think, is a big aspect of it as well. And Nathan SR, he had it all. He's the full package of South America. And unfortunate for Guy in a final like that. But at the end of the day, they both booked their ticket. And so they both should be very, very proud of themselves.
I can't wait to see what they do on the world stage. Now, Kacee, given that you've been present at 2 6-0 finals so far, what do you think the score is going to be for the final at ePrem?
Honestly, I don't think it'll be as much of a blowout. I think it'll be a little bit closer. I think everyone knows who I think is going to win it. I won't give a straight up prediction, but I think it'll be a little bit closer of a game for ePrem final.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you at the ePremier League. And you know what? Maybe we'll just get you back to talk about that one as well, because we'll actually be recording that one in the studio. We can't wait to see you back in the UK where you kind of belong. We'll see you very soon, Kacee. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Take care.
Thank you, guys.
We have got a massive treat for you right now because we have managed to nab the runner-up of the CONMEBOL eLibertadores. It's none other than the man who's just absolutely taken his first land by storm. It's GuiBarros. Can I just want to clarify that information? This literally was your first land?
Yeah, it was. First one.
I mean, right, we have to address this. Were you nervous at any point? Because you played like you've been playing in lands for years and years and years.
I feel like I was really nervous before the first game because, you don't know what it's like. And then as soon as I scored the first goal, all the nerves went away. I was feeling good. And then my second game is real quick. Like I finished the first one and I just go straight to the second one. So I just didn't have time to get nervous again.
Do you feel like the goals that you were scoring as you went into the playoffs were able to be a bit more creative and you were able to have more fun with them as well once you kind of relaxed and gone, yeah, I've got this. I can do what I do at home.
I try to play my own way. I don't like to cross that much. I don't like to do the Holland thing. And as soon as I get my flow going and I can pass the ball around, it feels nice. I feel relaxed.
So you very much play your own style like you've talked about, and you don't like to do the Holland thing. But what about the atmosphere this weekend? It was absolutely incredible. I think in terms of esports, I mean, Brazil is the place for the best atmosphere around. What was it like for you? First land, going into it, bit of pressure, or did you just enjoy it? It looked like you just thrived on it.
No, I loved it. It's amazing. Like you said, Brazil, I think, is the best place for esports. It's incredible. Everybody's screaming. People brought their whole family, the whole team in, and it was insane. It was amazing.
Yeah, and you're going to be going to the World Championships. How are you feeling about that?
I mean, to be honest, I feel mostly relaxed. I mean, I thought the season was going to be over yesterday, so to have it be extended a little bit more is just amazing. It feels great.
Has it sunk in yet what you achieved? The way that you were in a LAN for the first ever time it's not normal. The way that you played and performed, it was unbelievable.
I don't know if it's fully sunk in yet. As soon as I got home and saw my parents, that it hit me a little bit there, and I was just happy.
Have they been watching you from Rio then?
Yeah.
At home?
They were nervous. I mean, the first day on Saturday, my mom and my sister cried. I was calling them and they cried when I got through the group. So for me, that's all that matters. I was just so happy to see them and my dad. They were just happy.
What was it like when you had that conversation with them that you wanted to go into esports full time? And what was it like?
I sat them down, right? And this was like we were in the pandemic, and I made a PowerPoint presentation. I was like, listen, this happens and this happens. And I kind of want to do this. And they said, well, you have school, so you can do it alongside school. You can give it a shot, do whatever you want. Like, it's fine. So I tried it. And on FIFA 22, like, I competed, but I didn't do anything. Like, I didn't do good. I kind of took it like, I didn't take it as seriously. And then before the 23 season, my dad sat me down and he was like, if you want this, you have to like work for it. So if you're going to do this, do it right. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. So I took it a little bit more seriously, had some good results last year, just didn't qualify for LAN. And then this year just started working out. Everything just went great.
I really want to know what was in the PowerPoint presentation. Do you still have a copy of it?
How long was this PowerPoint?
No,
Did you have images in it as well?
Yeah,
Did it have
had
clip art?
images. You know, #United had like Ryan and stuff, and they had Harry and stuff, right? So I took the pictures of like the videos and I put them in. I was like, "You have these events,
Case
and they do
studies,
this."
right?
This is incredible.
Yeah, and I'm like, "This happens. This
Did you have
happens."
Tom Lees in there?
I think I had text on it. I don't know if I had Tom. I had a bunch of stuff, and I was just like, this happens, and I had the Brazilian guys that were good at the time, and I showed them, and then that was basically it. And I was like, the prize winnings are this, and then that was it. I can do this from here. That was it.
Sorry to go on about this PowerPoint a lot, right? At what moment did you think, right, I have to speak to my parents, and I have to do a PowerPoint? And then you made the PowerPoint. Did you like get someone to check over the PowerPoint, or was it like, nope, this is it? When someone comes to you with a PowerPoint, what you like? It's like when producer Patrick, right, on our podcast sends us a PowerPoint or like a document with everything. We can't say no to anything. It's all written there. It's perfect.
Well, like, I don't have anybody check over it. The thing is, my parents were always very like protective and stuff about online gaming. So I didn't really play online until the 22 season. That's when I started. So that was me explaining to them, like, this isn't dangerous. This is not like something I'm going to be talking to people online or doing anything to worry them. It's just going to be competing. And it was mostly for that purpose.
You did mention some UK players. You mentioned notably Tex. He is playing in the E-Premier League next weekend. Of course, if he qualifies through that with his teammate Matthias Bonanno, you'll be seeing them at the World Championships. Is he someone you want to take on?
Definitely, you want to play the best. I think him and Pigson right now are the two guys that I think just the best out there. So those are the guys I want to play for sure.
Such a nice story, that, isn't it? Like, started with a PowerPoint and now we're here, right? We absolutely love it. Let's talk about your fellow Brazilian players. Like, what is it about the boys from Brazil? Because they're all so good. Like, what is their play style and what is the recipe for them being so good and so competitive and just in general really, really good?
I think the level here is absolutely amazing. I mean, you see Nathan this weekend and like everybody was kind of shocked at how he was playing. Like, we've seen this from him for like years. He's been this good. It was just like one tournament where he kind of, on Saturday he didn't play as well and he still got through. And everybody knew, like, if he played bad and went 2-0 on Saturday, imagine when he gets on Sunday and he doesn't like play bad again. Everybody who plays here plays so offensive most of the time. Like, we all it's creative. We try to play a good brand of football and it shows, I think, in the gameplay.
Can I ask for you then, what was it like in that final? Because unfortunately it didn't go your way, but it did go the way of your teammates. I guess there was a moment of disappointment for you when you were sat back quietly in your chair, but did you also have the feeling of pride for your teammate too?
Going into the final, I think I was a little bit more relaxed, because I already had the spot for World Championships. And I didn't go into it as hyped as I should. And he was full focused. As soon as I missed a couple of chances and he went 2-0 up, I was like, it's just probably his time. He deserved it so much. I seen this guy practice every day for like 8, 7, 9 hours. It's insane. So he grinds so much. He deserves it. It's been deserving it for a long time. And I was just happy to see him win.
How difficult is it to play against someone who you know so well in such a high-stake match? Obviously, the qualification was massive. But when you're in a final and you're looking across you and you know exactly what this guy's doing and you've seen the patterns of play so much, how difficult is it?
We play each other every day, right? Before playing him every day, I could not beat him. Like, I was getting whacked every game. And then as soon as you start playing all the time, you start to understand. And like, we knew we had to like take our chances because he's so clinical and he's so good. And I think both me and Rampazzo in both our games, like, we played great. We were able to lock it down for like a half, maybe a few minutes more. But as soon as we start missing chances, we know he's going to come down the other end and just score. So it's very tough when you're just waiting for it. Like, it's coming and you're just waiting for him to come and score 1 or 2.
But I slid into Nathan's DMs because I wanted to ask him about what he thinks of you and the fact that you also qualified for the World Championships. And he said, I'm very happy for Gui. He's an incredible player and an excellent person. So being able to qualify for the World Cup in the first face-to-face match just shows how ready he is. Does that excite you, the fact that you're going to get to travel the world with someone who sounds like he's your friend, not just your teammate?
He's a very good friend. To be fair, I was talking to my parents yesterday and I was telling them, like, he got so much nicer as soon as he qualified. Like, we'll practice every day at home and he'll be like, I'll miss a chance and he'll be like, look what he's doing. He can't score. And he'll get on me about stuff, but he cares because he wants me to get better. But as soon as he qualified, he's like, this is your time. Like, you got this and stuff. And I'm just like, it's like we have a great relationship. I think the whole team, we help each other so much. And I think it showed in the tournament.
GuiBarros, thank you ever so much for talking to us. Congratulations. We can't wait to see how you perform in the World Championships.
Nice to speak to you, mate. Well done.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Unfortunately, that's all we have time for this episode. But don't worry, because the next episode is going to be coming to you from the very studio of the E-Premier League. That's coming up this weekend. Personally, I can't wait. Actually get to be there in person. I've been having LAN withdrawal.
Well, there'll be no withdrawals next time because we will be joined by the E-Premier League winners. So much to come in that episode. I can't wait to sit down with them. The vibes will be great. Have you got any predictions ahead of the E-Prem?
Well, I know you want me to say Man City. You know what? I think that it's going to be Liverpool's year. I think that Stingray is chomping at the bit for that trophy. And I think that Darius has learned a lot from the group stage. So I really think that they're going to do well. But also my eyes are on CPFC, Nick Sneb and Shells. I mean, the great return of Shells is just something I live for.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see Shells back. I'm also excited to watch Newcastle versus Tottenham because of the showdown SBC. EA have bought out in-game Miguel Almiron and Rodrigo Bentancur, but also at Banks and Painter versus Tom Lees and Lyrics. The winner of that game gets their item upgraded, which is pretty sensational.
I need to go into the transfer market as soon as I get home, don't I?
You need to complete one of the SBCs and take a guess. I have backed Newcastle only because I like using Miguel Almiron. But my showdown record's not the best, but hopefully things will change.
What questions would you want to ask of an E-Premier League champion? Please do my job for me better than I can and give me some questions to ask. I'm desperate. I'm absolutely desperate. And it still means that I get paid exactly the same for your hard work. So can't wait to read those. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. You can catch the full Chemistry podcast on Apple Music, Spotify, and on YouTube. Do not forget to leave us a comment below. And of course, hit us up on the socials with your feedback. I've been Frankie Ward and he's been
FG, and we will see you on the next episode.